And this morning I'm in Brno, which is the second city of the Czech Republic. Brno is situated roughly 250 kilometres by rail to the southeast of Prague. However, the railway first arrived in 1839, linking the city not to Prague but to Vienna. And the station itself originally was two stations, only being linked by a new Art Nouveau concourse in 1904. And there's all the things you'd expect to find in a large railway station, including a bookshop. Out on the platform is the RegioJet waiting room, which is of course specifically for their passengers. However, as you can see, the station itself is looking quite run down out here, although there is some grandeur underneath all the layers of paint and muck. Up here to the right are the terminus platforms, which essentially are from that original Vienna-Brno railway, and then the S-shaped through platforms being from the Austrian Northern Railway of 1849. Here we are at the end of the platform at Brno, Hl.n and dráhy. First thing is to get the EuroCity from here down to Budapest. This train will have been coming down from Prague this morning, and I'm going to pick it up at 10:20 here. There's the sister northbound service coming in, so yeah, the trains will be crossing a little bit further north of here. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. It's going right across lunchtime, and though I don't often eat in dining cars, I think I might make an exception for the CD restaurant. So we'll see how it goes, and I'll catch you on the way. Before my train comes, there's a chance to do some train spotting. Now here's the earlier departure for Budapest, and we'll see 380014 later in the day in Hungary. The local trains are part of the integrated transport system of southern Moravia, which covers both buses, trams and trains. Brno is quite a hub for RegioJet trains. Here's the Siemens Vectron pulling a RegioJet service for Bratislava. And just across the way is the northbound RegioJet Bratislava to Prague service. So while we wait for the train and I pop off to get a second breakfast, let's have a look at the map. We'll head out southbound to the border town of Břeclav before crossing into Slovakia at Kuti. Then it's a straight run south to the Slovakian capital of Bratislava. The route then swings southeast through Nové Zámky to one last stop in Slovakia at Šruterovo. Then we're into Hungary at Sob, where the line immediately picks up the River Danube and we follow it downstream all the way to Budapest. Our EuroCity train is scheduled to cover the 355 kilometres or 220 miles in 4 hours and 6 minutes. Now that's an average speed of 87 kilometres per hour or 54 miles per hour. And here comes our train, pulled today by a Class 380 tri-voltage electric locomotive. These were built by Škoda between 2008 and 2011. The first class coach is here at the rear, so let's just hop on and find a seat. And as you can see, the entrance is not step-free, but at least when you enter the cabin, it is pretty nice. There's luggage space, and as expected, the seats are 2+1, mostly airline style, but there are some with tables. All the seats have power supplies and mini bins, and there's curtains to keep out the low springtime sun. The generous loading gauge makes for good-sized overhead racks and a general feeling of space. And we depart spot on time as I head back southbound towards Břeclav. And here there's an excellent view of what I suppose is the old goods terminal from back in the day. Popping up behind the carriage siding is the AZ Tower, the Czech Republic's tallest building at 111 metres. Soon we're heading southbound at a pretty consistent speed of 160 kilometres per hour on the straight and level track to Břeclav. And we're into Břeclav on time at 10:52. And an Interpanther on a local train terminates here at 10:54 and then reverses out at 10:58, whilst we're still awaiting a late connecting train. So eventually we get to pull away late at 11:06.
This train is about 10 minutes delayed due to waiting for the connecting train. Thank you for your understanding. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board the EuroCity train 275 from Praha, hlavní nádraží to Budapest-Nyugati. The next stop is Kuti.
Once over the river, we turn sharp left to head for the Slovakian border, leaving the southerly main line to Vienna behind us. The River Morava passes underneath us as we cross into Slovakia using this very new bridge. And even at this somewhat reduced pace, it isn't very long before the train arrives at the junction station of Kuti. Kuti seems to have both a Soviet-era building and a very original station. Once out of Kuti, the line goes almost dead south as we follow the wide flat valley of the Morava down towards the Danube and Bratislava. The ride is fairly smooth as these CD coaches are very comfortable indeed. And these little Slovakian stations along the way are certainly rustic. Although Malacki is an altogether bigger affair with a very large electronic departure board. And as you see, the nice man from the restaurant will bring you drinks if you wish them, but I'm thinking a trip to the restaurant will probably be in order quite soon. Zohor features those minimalist platforms that make me so nervous. Still, it's a lovely day to enjoy the Slovakian countryside. Close to the capital, there's more car transporters to be seen, as nearby it's Volkswagen's Bratislava plant, which produces, amongst others, VW Passats, Škoda Superbs and the Audi Q7, and here is a selection of all of them. And now the station names are prefixed by Bratislava, so we must be nearly there. Turnaround is quick at Bratislava as we continue to make up time. It's gone midday now, so once the train gets clear of the city, I think it's time to decamp to the restaurant car. We're back out in the sticks, and so stations become, well, just little bus shelters. However, I am quite hungry now, so let's go get some lunch. Of course, the first thing you need is a glass of beer, and then I get a plate of microwaved, rubbery, dry pasta. Yummy! Nové Zámky is the site of a hexagonal fortress that the Ottomans failed to conquer 6 times before they actually succeeded in 1663. Sadly, Second World War bombing destroyed much of the original fortress. Well, as bad as the pasta was, the banana bread muffin and coffee were very good indeed. Well, it's been nice sat here, but before the train crosses into Hungary, I'd better return to my seat in the first-class coach. Incidentally, the meal, including the drinks, cost 440 Czech koruna, which, when it came out on my credit card statement, was £15.45. Strouffo is right on the border with Hungary, and hence the dual language nameplate at the station. The town itself is situated on the Danube, but the station is some way away from the town, so we must first cross the Hl.n before we get our first glimpse of the mighty Danube. Finally, we cross the Ipel and enter into Hungary, with an immediate stop at the border town of Schob. Happily, this is yet another Schengen border, so there's not a lot to do here nowadays. And a quick look around confirms there aren't actually that many cross-border travellers anyway, although the coach will again fill up as we call at the stops from here into Budapest. I was looking forward to this bit as it was marked on the European rail map as being scenic. And yes, we do get some lovely views of the Danube from up here in the train. And there's also one or two very pretty riverside stations. So as we cruise along by the Danube, let's have a quick talk about prices. A ticket bought from České dráhy about 3 weeks in advance could be as cheap as 376 koruna in second and 717 koruna in first. However, if they're bought closer to the time, prices would go up to something like 997 and 1497 respectively. On our side of the river is the town of Nagy Maros, but on the right bank, overlooking us all, is the impressive Visegrad, which translates literally as Upper Castle, and I think you can see why. And we come upon some more Škodas, being pulled along by yet another old 1960s Class 240. At Vác we pass a Hungarian Class 815 EMU, which forms the local services to Budapest. The coach factory at Dunakeszi has a rake of new red and white coaches due for delivery to Egyptian railways, which is part of a major order that they're currently fulfilling. And with that, we're now effectively into the northern suburbs of Budapest. And the train is much busier, including a man with 2 wonderfully cute kids who found everything very interesting and sometimes very exciting. The local stations continue to have a rustic charm, although I think some will be quite bleak in bad weather. And so soon we're arriving into Budapest itself. And the excitement in the seats next to me remains unabated. Even though we lost some time at Brno awaiting that connection, the train arrives into Budapest-Nyugati station exactly on time at 14:28. And 380014 is already in place at the rear, which is of course now the front, ready to work the stock back to Prague, having brought in the previous train here 2 hours earlier. Anyway, here we are, first time in Budapest, first time in Hungary. That felt like quite a long railway journey. I don't know why, was, you know, about 4 hours, and I'm used to doing that kind of journey. But today it felt a bit longer. Maybe it was just me, maybe it wasn't the train. One thing commentators in this game always say, that going to the restaurant car and having lunch is a nice thing to do, and in general I would say, of course, that's true. I suspect none of them are vegetarians like me, so the České dráhy meal option was one vegan salad or one vegetarian pasta, and that was it really, and the pasta was a little lackluster to say the least. But at least I got to sit there, have a nice beer, have a coffee and a cake while I went along, so cool. Anyway, thank you as ever for watching and getting this far to the end. I really appreciate all the likes and all the comments and everything that you always say, and yeah, thank you very much for coming along on this one. And so therefore, from Budapest-Nyugati, it's goodbye and thank you for watching. Well, the next day I took my camera on a little walk around Budapest. I thought it might be fun to look at each of the main stations, but do it on foot, taking in the sights as I went. When that video is released, you will find it just here.